word.
Welcome to Life Under the Laundry Pile, airing it all out, one conversation at a time. And this is Copper.
Welcome back. This is episode 3, and today we're talking about Say What and North versus South. As you guys may or may not remember, Copper's from Ohio.
Ohio, yes.
And I am from a very small town on the border of Alabama and Florida. I grew up both places, so I am definitely Southern.
Right.
So, and before I forget, just a quick reminder about where you can find us on social media. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram, as well as Twitter, and we have a website. Our Facebook and Instagram are Life Under the Laundry Pile, and Twitter is @life_the_laundry, and our website page is obviously Laundry Pile Podcast, so you can find us there.
And I'm trying to make, we're not pressuring you guys or anything, but it's easier for us to kind of see where we stand with everyone if you just go on there and like us so that we know what's going on, because it's
the algorithms
right.
with Facebook
right.
kind of bury us if you don't like our stuff.
Right.
You won't see it.
And then we also very much want to know if you're enjoying what we're doing or if we need to tweak the show to,
comments. Give us
right.
comments, suggestions.
Yes.
We totally don't mind, because when you're in the new stage of something, if we want to know what
we
we're
need
doing.
to learn.
Yeah,
right.
we do. Because this is all new territory.
Yes,
Podcasting is all new.
It's very new and it's very difficult. So it's kind of it's
a learning curve.
Yes, thank you. And I'm trying to think of what I want to say, but so it helps us a lot to know what you're thinking about the show and that you're watching it. So or listening to it. Sorry, you wouldn't want to watch us. Trust me.
Then my kid said, "Why can't you put this on YouTube?"
Right.
I said, "We'll get to that. Maybe we'll get to that.
Maybe we could get a selfie stick and just take random pictures.
Oh, there
and
you
post
go.
them. Yeah, as we go. So
maybe not today. I don't have makeup on. I don't know about you.
No,
I have no makeup on.
This is our first time doing the show earlier in the day, and also there are kids in the house, so this could be successful and sober. Yeah, which is Heather not so much, but it's a little shocking for me to be sober. So I'll give you a hint. This is the first show we've done. Yeah, that I haven't actually had alcohol in my system. So
we'll do Bloody Marys next.
Bloody Marys next time for sure. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. It's my kids, so they can either be really quiet or they're going to need us 20 million times in the next 45 minutes. So we'll see how that goes.
But that's okay. This is Life Under the Laundry Pile.
Right.
Truly.
Yeah. You're going to hear them fight.
Yep.
$10 says Henry doesn't keep his pants on the entire podcast. So it's actually been a while since I've seen you. You kind of left town on me.
I did.
How was that?
I did. It was actually really nice. I will have to say 2 weeks. We went for 2 weeks, 14 days, and it's a really long time.
Right.
I don't know that we'll go that long next year. It's hard. I have a 14-year-old, and my mom lives way out in the country, and the Wi-Fi is very sporadic, and that does not make her happy. And like you said earlier, kind of make you twitch.
Well, you were talking about that earlier. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I'm a grown woman, and it's funny that we've gone to that point where we rely on it so much, but I don't know. Going that long without internet would really make me antsy. So I can imagine how well Aubrey did with that. Yeah.
No, and you're not lying. It is hard. We are addicted to some extent, but
not that we want you guys to cut back on the internet, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did. We went for 2 weeks and we had a really good time. One of my sisters said, I did my post on my blog, and it was all of our pictures, and I honestly took so many pictures. I had a hard time culling it down, but we're not high maintenance. We don't do a lot of things. We don't go a lot of places, because I'll tell you, the times that we've ever gone to like Disney, those don't feel like vacations. They feel like more work than vacation. And I don't want to come home needing a vacation from a vacation. So we just kind of hung out at my mom's, and we went to my uncle's. He does a hayride, and the kids swim, and It's just real low key. The most that we did was we stayed at the hotel a couple of days on Pensacola Beach, and
you did that right off the bat too, right?
We did.
That was in the beginning.
Yeah, we drove in on a Friday, and I think I forget. Or did we drive in on a Friday? I don't even remember at this point.
I know that.
And
you
then
did.
about 3 days in, we went Monday, I think, or Tuesday, and then we stayed a couple of days, and it was nice. There's not a lot of my 14-year-old. I will say, wants more. She wants to go, and and it's hard.
Right.
Not only is it expensive with 4 kids, it's just a lot of work.
It's and I can kind of, not to get sexist on people, but I kind of consider that thought process like it's the curse of the uterus. As moms, and I'm not saying that it's not stressful on dads too, but we were already so responsible for so much when it comes down to this stuff. I mean, ultimately the packing and the planning and the maintaining everybody's needs, and it's so hard. And then when you're not in your environment, it makes it even more difficult. So it tends to be so exhausting to the point that you try to avoid that stuff.
It is. Well, you're living out of a suitcase.
Right.
I'm not one of those people, and I know there are people who literally will unpack when they get somewhere and put it away. I mean, we stay at my mom's house in my brother's room, and he has a big room, but still, we're all sleeping on the floor and in the beds, and our bags are shoved to the corner. So digging through these bags for 4 kids and yourself it's exhausting.
And meanwhile, you're trying to not be a burden on the people.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I try not to get in her way. And I know she loves us, but let's be honest, I know she's glad when we leave. It's like a big sigh of relief. So that being said, that's what we did. We just kind of went home and we hung out and saw my family. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Right.
Aubrey said, we're the only family I know that does one big trip and then we do nothing. And I'm like,
nope, she knows us. So
how many people actually get to say they go to Florida every year for the summer? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We're lucky that that's where we're from and it doesn't cost us anything to go home. So.
And you live in a great part of Florida.
Right.
So you're going home to really a beautiful area.
Yeah. So
it's hard though when you're that age.
It is. I know. She's looking for Universal.
No matter
and
what,
Disney
the grass is always going to be greener for that age group.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's no fault of their own. I think that's just the way it is. So,
Well, especially when you have friends who go on cruises and to Aruba and stuff like that, and I'm like, I can't compete with that. I can't. If anybody's going to Aruba, it's me and Lloyd.
I was just gonna say that. I'm like, if we're going to Aruba, sorry, you guys are staying home. Like, I'll buy you a giant box of goldfish and little water bottles that you can. I mean, I'll maybe find someone to watch over you, but maybe not. Yeah, you're out of luck.
If you're lucky,
right? Yeah, if I'm gonna do something like that, you're not coming with me. So. Well, we didn't, it was such a quiet 2 weeks without you guys here. We didn't do too much. Matt and I were really lucky. My sister drove down from Dallas and stayed with the kids over the weekend. So he was able to, our anniversary was actually back in May, but between my sister works incredibly hard and he works, he's never home. So for them to synchronize the weekends, it's actually July now, but they worked it out so that he and I could get away for a little bit, which is something that just never, truly never happens. We don't tend to do that. Not on purpose. It's not convenient. I would love for that to happen more often than it does. It's just not an easy task for us. So, but we went to Houston and we live in Houston. We went to Austin. And we stayed at a really great hotel close to 6th Street, and we just did what 2 adults do when they're alone in Austin. So it was really good. We ate a lot of good food.
Sleep, eat, and drink.
Yeah, sleep and drink. That's pretty much what we did. You can still kind of smell it coming off my pores a little bit, but as much as he hassled me, we did not get a new tattoo. We did not do anything too crazy. I think the craziest thing we did was. And totally my fault because he was like, let's have Valley bring the car around. And Saturday morning we wanted to go down to SoCo to South Congress and walk around. And I'm like, no, MapQuest says it's 1.3 miles. We can totally do that. It's fine.
In Texas heat.
Yeah, in Texas heat. Really kind of, let's be honest, a little hungover from the night before. So we're really dehydrated to begin with. But
that's a terrible combination.
It was horrible. We got halfway there and you could my poor husband, who you should know, has very pale skin and, that red hair, undertone. So, I mean, he just looked like he was 2 steps away from a heart attack at any given point in time. And I'm trying to be the bigger person, be like, this is fine, but I'm actually wearing sandals and my feet hurt. But you can't, there's no turning around. No matter what you do, you have to get down there. So, but I mean, we had a good time, but my God, I mean, by the time we started walking back, we couldn't even talk anymore. We were just both so miserable. And we got back to the hotel and had to take a shower and nap and just to recover from it because it was just really a lot of work. So, but it kind of reminded us that, well, to back up, when we were childless in our 20s, we lived in Toledo, Ohio. So we were really close to the Canadian border. And one of the biggest things that when we would just go up to Toronto for the weekend, like all the time. And we would just walk and not even think about it. I mean, it didn't hurt. You know,
right.
Why am I hurting so much? I used to do this all the time. And you're like, oh, yes, that was 20 years ago.
Plus, no humidity.
No humidity. Yeah, and it's Toronto.
So,
right. I mean, it was like gorgeous. You know, the weather. And Texas weather can be gorgeous too, but not this past weekend. This past weekend was like Satan's armpit.
Hotter than Hades.
Yeah. So it was just a nice reminder of how much older that we've gotten. I mean, that was 48 hours ago, and my calves are still like screaming. Every time I go to walk, I'm like, oh my God.
You're looking for Pokemon.
Right, I know. And then we got home last night, and the kids had spent all weekend searching for Pokemon, so we downloaded the game on our phones and went walking around doing that some more. So yeah, it was a fun weekend though.
Yeah,
but it was I
love Austin. Though.
We had a great time. Austin is a beautiful, beautiful city. I love Texas.
I do too.
It's kind of one of those states. I mean, we've lived here a couple different times, and it very easily became home for us. Mm-hmm. And so did the other states that we lived in, but we really have a spot in our hearts for Texas, and Austin is just a perfect example of that. Like I
think we've talked about this before. Texas has, the people here feel so strongly, and they're so loyal to their state. They're very passionate,
yes.
I think it's amazing.
Right.
I've lived in Florida, I've lived in Alabama and Mississippi, and never had any sense of that in anywhere else. And as much as this probably will pain people from home, Texas is amazing.
Right.
To me, it tops Florida.
Right.
You know, yeah, you've got the beaches, but just something about Texas, you know, even when you start driving.
There's something about that pride.
Yeah. I agree. I love Texas.
It's definitely its own little country.
Yeah. And my husband, I think, even has learned to love it too, because we were talking, he says, how'd you feel when you went back home? I said, I got a little nostalgic. I put it on my Facebook page. I was like, oh, listening to Tool driving down Davis Highway.
Right.
I felt like I was back in my partying days. But as he said, did you miss it? And I said, I missed it, but it's hard to explain. I missed it, but I would never want to go back.
Right.
Like, this to me is home.
This is my home now.
Because he was kind of shocked. He said, you missed it? And I was like, yeah. He's like, but why? Which was kind of surprising because he's from Louisiana, but he loved Florida. Right. Obviously. But
we loved our time in Florida, but
it's just different here.
And Florida may in the future be our home again. With the nature of my husband's career,
right?
We never know,
right?
And I would be very happy with that. I mean, make it, every time I move, I get a little sad, but we definitely like Florida a lot. But definitely Texas is a part of us for sure. So
yeah.
And I think our kids are little Texans. I mean, the majority of their lives has been spent in this state. So, yeah.
Kids, that's funny. Hey, you know, that makes me think, we were talking about doing a segment on Say What?
Yes.
The funny stuff that the kids said.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but for the last 2 weeks being cooped up with them in the car.
I bet you have a lot to
add.
They
have said some really funny things.
Yeah.
So, you want to go? I'll tell you what my kids have said.
Yes.
Let's see, Paige actually said this the night before last. My husband had some whiskey that he was drinking, and she said, I could hear her say, your whiskey smells like coconut with a hint of farts.
Oh, nice.
And, I'm not real sure I'd want to drink something that smelled like coconut with a hint of farts. Yeah. Farts is real big at my house.
I wonder what fart tastes like.
I don't even want to know. And, you know, our dog has enough of them.
Yeah.
And one of the kids said the other day, they said, you know, probably smelling this many dog farts is not a good idea. And it's not. It's not a good idea. So, let's see. Landon said something like, I can break it with my butt. I don't know what he was talking about. I was on the computer and I heard him say, I can break that with my butt.
Right.
And then apparently the theme for that day was butts, because I heard Emma say, I can tell that's Kim Kardashian. Geez, her butt's big. Again, I think they must have been watching a show on Nickelodeon where the kids, I know what it was. They were watching that Henry Danger. And apparently he had a nightmare where his parents were Kanye, your favorite, and my not favorite, and Kim Kardashian. So they had that dressed up like them. And let's see. Landon told me last night that if you don't have any spit, this is a good piece of advice from an 8-year-old.
Should I write this down so I know?
You should. Okay. So if you don't have any spit in your mouth, you bite your tongue and water comes out. And then he told me that's called a life hack. So that's Landon 101.
That's called a life hack.
Yes, that's what he told me. That's a life hack.
That's very wise.
Yeah,
Landon is a wise
really
boy.
Not, but we'll just go with that. It is. So tell me my kids are not the only ones who say stupid, weird garbage.
So, since we started this, my kids have been really tame, which I think you've spent a time with them that usually, that my kids are... and I'm not proud of this, and I don't know if I should be advertising it. They kind of have a little bit of a potty mouth, and it's totally, that's my fault.
That's okay.
Yeah. So
and we both do. This is a disclaimer, just to let you guys know. Yes. We are not.
And that might pop up every once in a while here on the.
We won't say the really bad word.
Right. No, I can curb it. I can control myself.
But you will hear.
Right.
A little bit of cursing.
Shit.
What do you call it? I call it cussing. Do you say cursing? Northerners?
I do.
Do you really?
I do say cursing.
We cuss.
Yes.
We cuss the hell out of stuff. We cuss. There you go.
So, the other day, and I did write about this on the blog, we were driving down, a little backstory. The boys have been really obsessed with anatomy lately, and in an effort to to be honest with them, I've been trying to use actual words, not made up words. I think, it's such a tough one because you have people that feel so passionate about both sides. You should never use wee-wee or, anything like that. And I don't think there's any harm in that either. And you should always use the real words. And some people are like, I don't appreciate my child knowing the words.
Seriously?
Should I say it? Yeah. Vagina. There.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Right, yes.
They're not going to be 40 years old calling it a wee-wee and we say ka-chow-chow at my house, which is very bizarre, I know. But my kids, they're potty mouth like yours. Yeah. They love it.
So I'm I try to be, especially when we're, not necessarily be careful, Henry, because if you try to ride your bike without your pants on, you're going to pinch your pee-pee, I'm not necessarily saying you're going to pinch your penis, but when we're learning how the body works and everything, I try to use the actual word. So the boys who've been very obsessed with this lately, especially since we had a friend that just had a baby, and they also have some slight speech impediments. So they were talking about it in the car on the way to the dentist the other day, and Jackie, so I had told them that Miss S had her, I don't know if she wants this information out there, so I'm not going to use her name, but she had her baby, and he was in the car, he needed to know, did that baby come out of her belly or her pachina? And it took me a second. I'm like, what? And he's like, her pachina, mommy? Right near her butt, her pachina. I'm like, oh, yes, okay. So I'm like, he's like, I gotta know, was it her pachina or her belly? So I'm like, it was her belly. And he's like, okay. And then he just keeps going on and on about, the whole, you know where the vagina is, mommy. I'm like, yes, baby. I'm like, I showed you. Or I didn't show him, but we've talked about this. I'm aware of it all. I'm the one that has taught you. So he's been really obsessed with that lately. And then in the same process, we're in the country driving to the dentist, and Henry sees some cows, and he's like, those are cows. And he goes, they have milk, mommy, and this is how you pull on their weenus, and it gets you milk, and you put a cup underneath there, and then you drink the milk. I'm like, no, that's not really how it works. So I obviously have not done my job to the extent I should have, because he thinks...
I like that he combined the two words, wiener and penis.
Yeah, so it's his... And he's still... And I've noticed that more and more, it's still weenus. So now that we have started, that's how we refer to everything now, is weenus and vagina. So.
Vagina is like that country next to Japan.
Yes, exactly. So
that's pretty cute.
They have great egg rolls there. So, yeah. And some of the funniest things I hear out of the boys is they they call themselves P Brothers. So poor Landon doesn't have this experience. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, so I feel bad for him. He might have to come hang out with them sometime.
I need to dump him off over here for a while.
But it's kind of like the Ghostbusters, where they go to the bathroom and like they try to not cross the stream, while they go to the bathroom. So one of them will be like, "I have to pee, Bubba. Do you want to go be pee, Bubba?" Yeah. So. Aww. Well, not so. When
because they most
of
the time miss it. I would imagine.
Yeah. So you wanted to know why my bathroom is always so clean.
It's out of necessity.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, poor Landon. He doesn't get that boy. And he used to ask, "Why can't you have boy?" And I said, "Son, at this point, it'd be a baby, and you'd be like 20. Exactly. I mean, my
Maggie's
goodness.
the same way about having a sister. I'm like, but it wouldn't be, because she sees Emma and Paige, and she's like, I would love to have a sister. I'm like, yeah. First of all, no.
Yeah. But the difference in the age,
right? And I don't think it would be what you want it to be. But yeah, I hear that a lot too. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's really been anything else crazy lately, but they're just so funny in general. I always joke about needing a GoPro in the car because some of the best conversations.
See, and for me, it drives me nuts. When I get in the car, I want to listen to the radio. And I don't know about your van, but they'll get in that third row in the very back, and then they'll try to have a conversation with me about how to build a rocket.
Right.
And I'm like, what? What did you say? Never mind, Mom. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I can't hear you.
Right.
Physically. Like, you can hear me for some weird reason, but I cannot hear you.
Right.
And so it drives me nuts. And inevitably, my favorite song will come on, and then they'll want to start a conversation.
Exactly. Like, I'm jamming here.
I'm like, really?
Right. Mommy's got to focus on jamming.
I'm in the house with you all day long, and, you
don't need me.
No.
Right.
But when we get in the car, it's like all of a sudden. But yeah, no, let's be honest. All I've heard this summer is, Mommy, look at this. Mommy, watch this. Mommy, do this. Mommy, can I have this? Mommy, can I... Right. It's become... overwhelming.
I think Jackie does some of his best thinking in the car. So Jackie has good questions. I mean, he's an incredibly intelligent kid, and he's always like, how do they do this? And so you're trying to answer these questions where, quite frankly, I need Google. There's so much of my life is saying to him, we will Google that when we get home. Yeah, I can't. I don't know. How are bricks made? Yeah. How do they do that? How do they do this? And I'm like, I don't know, buddy.
That's really cool that he asked that. Yeah. And you said you found that podcast that How Stuff Is Made, or
right?
Yeah. Is that the name of
it? We actually watch a show quite often. It's called How That Was Made.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Sorry, it's How Stuff Is Made. So is the TV show. So, but no, the podcast I've been watching lately, which I'm going to advertise on the podcast, is Stuff You Missed in History Class, which is really good. I know you listen to it too. So.
And it's one of the really popular ones.
Yes, but they do a great job.
Yeah.
They're very easy to listen to.
It's pretty cool. There's some really cool podcasts out there. So.
Right.
All right. I really am excited about the segment that we're talking about. The big main one, the North versus South, because like I said earlier, Copper's from the North and I'm from the South.
Right.
And it appears that we both brought goodies, but oh, holy hell, it better not be some nasty shit in that place that you have over there.
Well,
as long as it's not meat, we're good.
Well, that's funny, because the one thing I'm like, when we start talking about it, I'm like, I really wanted to make you this one thing, but you don't eat meat.
I don't eat meat.
So I'm like, there's something from Ohio that everybody loves, and we'll talk about it. Let's talk about food right off the bat, in fact, so we're not covering this twice.
Okay.
So, I'm from Ohio. I mean, the North is a large area, but I focused really on what I grew up on coming from there. One of the biggest things that we eat in Ohio, and I think maybe Indiana might do it as well, but not too many other places do, is called shredded chicken.
Okay, so kind of like barbecue chicken, maybe? Pulled?
Yeah, but no. Yeah, and in hindsight, it's not fancy. It's very simple. And it doesn't have a lot of taste. And what it is just it's literally cooked chicken that's shredded. You put some bread in there to kind of make it mushy, maybe some cream of chicken soup, and you heat it up. It's a hot chicken sandwich, and you just put it on a bun with some salt and pepper, maybe a pickle.
So wait, there's bread in with the chicken, and then you put it on bread?
Yeah, you have.
I'm glad you did not bring that, because I don't eat chicken.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't. I'm right off the bat, I'm like, oh my God, shredded chicken. But then I'm like, no, she's not going to eat that.
No, chicken is
But it's what, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, birth, graduation, death, whatever happens, people make shredded chicken, and everybody eats it.
I have never heard of that. Okay.
It's delicious. But you can't, I mean, if you know how to make it, you can, but you won't find it anywhere else. So.
I've never heard of it, ever.
Yeah.
But.
So, and you could even get it like we have, you know how they make snow cones all the time down here?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's where you find these snow cone stands all over the place, which is kind of funny to us. Where we come from is soft serve ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, but they always have a crock pot of shredded chicken going too, because they'll make a shredded chicken sandwich. And I mean, we just eat it all the time up there. So.
Holy cow.
And there's really nothing. I mean, that's literally shredded chicken, some bread, and cream and chicken soup. And you heat it up, salt and pepper, and you're good.
You definitely taught me something new.
It's delicious.
Because I have never heard of that, ever.
If you ever change your mind mind about me, I will make it for you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
I will never change my mind about chicken, especially.
Yeah. One of the other things that we do is spaghetti and chili go on top of spaghetti. Or like spaghetti sauce.
Don't they call that?
I should say chili. Of course, spaghetti sauce goes on top of
the chili. On top of
chili goes on top of spaghetti. It's called Skyline chili.
I've heard it called Cincinnati chili.
Well, Skyline is from Cincinnati, so yeah, you probably maybe heard that too.
I have heard.
But and they have Skyline is a restaurant, and they have their own type of chili that they make. But in general, like. If you come to my house for chili, there will be
noodles.
Noodles.
Oh, okay.
That's how we eat it, and there'll be cheese to put on top of it and sour cream, which I think is universal. But like you have to have all of that combined, and we tend to do that, and that's called Skyline chili.
That's really funny, and you know it's my in-laws. They're all from Louisiana, New Orleans. They always use rice with their chili, which I find highly bizarre because I grew up half in Texas and half in Florida. We eat it with tortilla chips.
Right.
Corn chips.
Yes, I like it that way too.
So you crush up the chips. So that's our version of your noodles and their rice. But it is weird how different areas eat it. And
the other thing we'll do is like dumplings with the chili too. Mm-hmm. So that kind of comes from, there's a restaurant really in Toledo, Tony Paco's, which everybody loves. And that's what they do is they have these dumplings. And I actually have a really good recipe. Maybe I'll make that for you sometime. But, and then you pour the chili over it and the cheese. It's so, I kind of want it now, so I might make that for dinner tonight.
I've never heard of the dumplings with the chili, because, you know, I'm from the South and we do eat dumplings.
Right.
But with chicken. Not like that.
I have a really good chicken recipe, too, but why bother with that? So, So the third thing, which is I actually whipped some up for you, is Buckeyes. Have you ever had them before?
I have not, but I've heard they're sweet, right?
They're very sweet.
Okay, they're dessert. I can handle that.
Yeah, I thought you could. So let me grab them.
I was like, please, dear God, don't weird me out with something bizarre like, you know, because I'm from the South, so gizzards or something. But
no, thank you.
And you're in luck. That is not.
I literally just about threw up on the podcast.
They're so cute.
So what they are is
kind of look like a female anatomy part. They look like
That's
little boobies.
They look like little boobies.
They're so cute.
Now I'm never going to look at them any other way. They're supposed to look like Buckeyes.
They got holes
and now
in
they
them.
look
What are
like
Buckeyes?
It's
chestnuts?
Kind of, yeah. Like, and maybe they are officially chestnuts. I don't know if they're one and
like
the same.
A nut.
But they're a nut that fall off a tree.
Is there so it's peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah.
Smells like Reese's.
It's got peanut butter, and powdered sugar is the peanut butter part, and then you just dip it in chocolate.
These are really good.
They're really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I made them small this time. I usually make them a lot bigger because I am a tubby who loves food. So, but yeah.
These are really good. They're just like
Reese's peanut butter cups. Yeah.
I think the powdered sugar gives it a little bit different flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good. That was a good call. Thank you for not making me eat something
forcing something
meaty
on you.
And nasty.
Here, you put
that was my fear when I saw you set your plate. You're like, don't look under the napkin. And I said, oh, dear God, don't be anything gross.
No, I really like the second we started talking about this segment, I'm like, shredded chicken, you know, but because, I mean, everybody knows that you just literally cannot find it outside of.
That was a good call.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, she won't eat it. She will refuse it. So, tell me about your food since we're kind of on that subject.
All right, let me see what's on my list because it's kind of mixed up. Well, it's not really food, but where I'm from, all sodas are Cokes. No matter what, it's
I
a
have
Coke.
that on mine too. It's not a Coke. It's a pop.
And you know, I find myself here. I say soda sometimes because the kids will ask for soda with their meal, and I say no soda. But we do. Everything's a Coke, and I don't drink Pepsi, so don't even ask me if Pepsi's okay.
No,
it's not okay.
You know what? This is where we agree. At no point in time is Pepsi ever okay.
Ever. No, it's like decaf coffee.
Right. Why bother?
Never in the trash, right? Yeah, my mom, she loves Pepsi, but it's gross.
Yeah, but no, from where just to counteract that, it's not soda, it's not Coke, it's pop.
Yeah, no. See, I've never said pop in my life unless you're talking about like gum or something or a bubble or balloon. But tea, sweet tea. Tea only comes sweet.
No, it doesn't. It does. Not in the north.
It does. And, you know, Lloyd and I have gone to a couple of restaurants where they'd say, you know, what do you want to drink? And I'd say, sweet tea. Well, we're sorry, we only have unsweet tea. And I'm like, no, that's not okay. That's not an option. I don't want that.
Well, and that's one of like my biggest loves of the South is sweet tea. And so when we're down here and we go somewhere that doesn't have sweet tea, I'm always like, what the hell do you mean you don't have sweet tea? Yeah. Like, I know, we're in Texas. I did not move to Texas to put my own sugar in my tea.
Yeah, you will not. I don't think I've ever encountered a restaurant in any of the states that I drive across that don't have sweet tea. But that being said, I have gone to like when we went to California to see my brother on TV, the restaurant didn't have sweet tea. Right. And they just look at you and they point to the little thing with all this artificial garbage, and I'm like, no.
There's a restaurant here that we go to quite often, and we love them, Sharky's.
That is true.
They don't have sweet tea. And I give them crap every time. And they laugh. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm not kidding.
We're in Texas.
Like, I love you. And I love your hush puppies.
Oh, but no. And they're bacon wrapped shrimp.
You're going to say shrimp. I'm not going to touch that. That's right. It's so gross.
I forget.
But I'm always like, every time, like, how do you not have sweet tea? I'm like, fine, I'll have a beer. You know?
I knew there was a place around here. And I couldn't remember. But you're right. Because we love Sharky's too. But I know. How can you not have sweet tea? Come on.
But up north, and it's changing a little bit, but it's more like places like Bob Evans, which do have a southern undertone to them. But up north, I'm growing up, like that wasn't an option.
There was always a gallon of sweet tea in my house, and as is there now at my house. Yes. There's always
a gallon of sweet
tea. I make tea probably, twice a week.
Right.
But yeah, that one, one of the other staples where I'm from, biscuits, grits, cornbread. That's kind of it.
Love you. If you know how to make that, you could just win me for life.
I do. I don't know how to make biscuits, but grits, I could do cheese grits. Absolutely.
Grits. I love
and
grits.
Cornbread, no. But my mom does. And my grandma, she used to, but she doesn't really cook anymore. But I brought two treats for you, and one makes a lot of noise, so I'm going to give you the first one. It's boiled peanuts.
Okay.
And, oh my gosh, I had to eat some this morning when I thawed them out for you. Have you ever had a boiled peanut?
No, I haven't.
You just, I'll eat one with you. Let's just be weirdos. They're so good. Oh my gosh.
So you just break it open.
You just break it open and you eat it.
So how do you make these?
You just boil peanuts.
You just put them in water
with salt, or unsalted.
That's really good.
You like those?
Uh-huh.
Some people say they're, slimy, and it depends.
It is a little slimy.
I love those, though. My kids will literally, I don't know if you saw the picture that I posted.
When they were listening
to the podcast. They were all sitting around eating boiled peanuts.
I love your kids.
So you didn't think those were bad? You can give the rest. Doesn't Moose like them?
Yeah.
Yes?
He does like them. He has to be careful not to eat too many, but he does love them. So, yeah.
Well, if he'll be home anytime soon, you can give those to him.
We'll have the kids try them too.
Yes.
And see what they think.
Yeah. And then one other goodie that you cringe.
This one, I'm going to cringe. I'm going to try it for you. Just for you.
And they're pork rinds. And I got the barbecue.
You already had this in your pantry, didn't you?
Damn straight. I bought them yesterday. I was like, oh, they're barbecue. So you have to. They smell really bad. They smell like my dog's farts, but they're so good.
Oh my God, they do smell like
dog
farts. They're so
good.
That smells like fish
There's
food.
no carbs in them either. So you can eat like the whole bag and not feel bad. They're really good.
All right.
I grew up eating cracklins, which I don't know if you know what cracklins are.
Yeah, I do.
You do. Those are really good. Come on.
I do not like that.
You don't? Mm-mm. Maybe because they're barbecue, or maybe just because you don't like them.
Because I know what they are. They kind of, and I eat bacon.
Pigs are okay. Pigs are totally fair game to me.
I'm going to finish it because,
Well, if you're not, I'll finish it for you because they're really good. And I don't eat after people, but I'll eat that after you.
No, I'll finish it. I'm a big girl.
Really? You don't like it?
All
right, 1 out of 2.
It's not the worst.
1 out of 2 is not bad.
It does remind me a little bit of like the fatty part of bacon.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
It does. It's crispy though.
Right.
I like pork rinds a lot. Right. And I think they even have like jalapeno pork rinds. I may have to try those. So
I'm gonna have a little drinky room here.
But that was my food. So we survived that. So at least you
We tried our different things.
Yes.
So, and that, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I could see where that might be a popular item. So, yes. Really quick, when we're talking about like the beverages and stuff, do you find that there's a staple beer in the South?
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because we had Natty Light.
Or Bud Light.
Yeah.
Okay, Natural Light.
Right. Yeah. Everybody loves Natural Light in the North, which is so funny because it's such a, no offense to them, but it's really not a good beer.
No, it's not.
No.
It's kind of like a step above Schlitz.
Right. Yeah.
Or PBR.
Right. Oh yeah. PBR is awesome.
I'd have to say cool. I mean, Bud Light or Miller Light if I had to.
I think Bud Light's pretty across the board. I mean, if you're American, you drink Bud Light at some point in time, but
growing up.
Yeah, Natty Light's definitely a big Ohio beer. Yeah. In fact, Matt's sweet uncle used to drink it just like all the time. So that's why every time I see it, it always kind of makes me smile and think about him because that was his beer choice. So
yeah, my grandpa always drank Miller Lite and whiskey.
Right.
early times whiskey, which every time I go into Specs, the liquor store, and I see it, I have to take a picture and send it to my mom, but I haven't been in there in ages, but that was
I was just there, which I know is shocking.
But
yeah. The bunny store.
Yeah, a bunny to advertise for
that's
liquor.
What back to say was like that's one thing my kids are like, we love the bunny store, and people be like, oh, is that a pet store? And Maggie's like, no, that's where mommy goes to get liquor. I'm like, oh my god.
Okay. That's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
So let's see. That's kind of all the food, right?
Yes. I think so. Yeah. Well, I will tell you there are a couple of things. We don't barbecue. That is bizarre. We grill.
Right.
I have heard, and my husband's family is guilty of, they call it barbecue. No, you're not. Barbecue is sauce.
That is a different,
You're grilling on the grill.
Right.
It is grill. So I don't know if you've ever heard the distinction between two. Some people say, oh, we're going to barbecue. No, you're not. You're grilling.
I think what we tend to say is like, I'm going to grill that chicken.
Right.
But we're going to have a barbecue. Is like if we're like that's what we're planning for dinner and people over, that's a barbecue.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, what are you doing with this chicken? I'm gonna grill it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's probably a fine line. But yeah,
I know. The people in the South are very passionate about that. The difference between those two items. Yeah. So.
One thing I was gonna say, and I don't know because this is kind of food related too. And my mom is notorious for making fun of us. Growing up in the country, it's breakfast, dinner, and supper.
Yeah.
And a friend here in our neighborhood actually called it supper the other night, and I texted her and I said, I love you for saying that because since I moved away, it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
So when my kids hear her say dinner, they think she means the nighttime meal, but she means the lunchtime meal. So what do y'all call it?
I really can't recall. I know that we used the word supper, but I think it was really at dinner time. So,
and it is.
And now I use breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, I do too. Right. I do too. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is my thing.
And I think sometimes, like, us personally, we've been so much around the country that we've picked up different things from everywhere we go. But yeah, I can recall it being called supper and not dinner. So we had to be home in time for supper.
Okay, so that's a kind of common ground. Right. So, okay.
So, do you have, I don't know if you've got anything about, like, college rivals?
You know, obviously football's a really big thing where I'm from. But, no, I mean, it was Auburn versus Alabama.
Right.
I'll be honest, I didn't grow up watching football. My grandpa watched baseball. We were big Braves fans. So the football thing just kind of goes...
right over you.
Yeah.
The thing about Ohio is that I said that like very like, oh, Ohio. People there, and it doesn't matter if you like it or not, everyone has an opinion on Ohio State versus Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and it's very, very tricky. Like, I mean, they're passionate. I mean, like, they may not know anything about football, but they know what team they root for. And I like Michigan. They never win. And I get it. Like, they just never win. Ohio State is by far the better football team. But I've always just rooted for Michigan. So, and it's not how we were raised. I grew up in an Ohio State house. So, yeah. But
I think it's kind of the same way where I'm from. I said Auburn, Alabama. They're both in Alabama.
Right.
And then we also do Florida State.
Right.
So you're either a Florida Gator or you're a Florida State Seminole. So I do.
Yeah. Now, our bigger sport, which you just don't see down here, and it makes me super sad, is hockey.
Hockey. Okay. Well, where I'm from, Pensacola, they have a hockey team.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny. I forget what they're
like a farm team.
No, a farm team.
That's like a farm team is like a smaller. Sometimes it's the players that are injured.
I'm thinking you mean out on the field, isn't it? With the cow patties. No. They play at the you could
the ice rink.
Yeah, they play at the Civic Center.
Okay.
But they're called Ice Pilots. That's what they're called. And they're pretty big there.
There are 3 really only, in my personal opinion, teams that you should pay attention to in hockey, which is the Blackhawks, which is out of Chicago. I have to say the Red Wings. They're not my favorite team. I actually never root for them, but they're Detroit.
Okay.
But they're, everybody loves them for some reason. I don't get it, but everybody does, and my family will kill me for that. And the Penguins, which is Pittsburgh, who is my ultimate, that's who I tend to root for. So, but hockey's bigger up there. And so it makes it hard for me because we get down here and it's just there are teams you can have your kids playing hockey, but it's not.
No, we don't have anything here in the Houston
area. Have to drive. I don't think. You have to drive. I mean, there are places to go, but it's a drive versus home. You can't spit without hitting an ice rink. So.
Yeah, I know. Back home they have that one, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So, we don't have that here. Yeah. So. Here's football.
I do miss it. And every once in a while you'll see on TV and I'll be like, and this is where we're saying so that I can watch that. So, but yeah. Go ahead and let me pass on to you.
Okay, I'll tell you a couple of them. Bless her heart, bless your heart. That is definitely true.
Sayings, yeah.
You can
I hear that a lot.
literally talk shit about someone as long as you end the sentence with
bless
her heart
or
bless your heart. So that kind of makes it okay.
Yes. And I've worked that into my own routine now. So, as long as you say that at the end, it's really okay.
And I'm just as guilty. I definitely. And oh, hell no. That is definitely said as well. I do it all the time. And I texted you something a while back, and I was telling you something that someone did to me. And I remember you saying, hold my earrings or something like that. Right. And I thought that was really funny. But that is the equivalent of, oh hell no. So, you want to know, I noticed this when I go in the store. I'm really self-conscious of this, but I call a shopping cart, a lot of times, I'll call it a buggy. And I think that is a very country southern thing.
Yes, yeah.
Do you call it a shopping cart?
Shopping cart.
Yeah, I'll say buggy. Every once in a while it'll slip out. And I if I hear someone say it in the store, I turn around because I think,
you're like,
someone like me. Yay! Another funny, really weird thing that I always tell my kids, and this is really bizarre, but if you have little kids, you'll kind of understand my sentiment behind it. We grew up saying, don't do that, you're going to gouge your goozle. And I don't know if you can guess what I mean by gouge your goozle.
I'm pretty sure I can.
Okay. What do you think it means?
Is it anywhere near your vagina?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, okay, your mouth.
You'll shove that down your mouth. Like if you run with a sucker in your mouth, don't do that. You're gonna gouge your goozle.
Yeah.
And I don't know what a goozle is, but we always said it. So I tell my kids that all the time. And then I say skin the rabbit when they take their shirt off.
Yes.
I say skin the rabbit. So, do you not say that?
No. That's definitely, I could see that being a very southern term.
Yeah. In fact, I told Paige yesterday when she got back from swimming, I said, take your shirt off. And she was just standing there, and I said, skin the rabbit, and you take the shirt off. So, I'm trying to think. We use a lot of pet names. Babe and honey and sweetie, just naturally. I just do it out of habit. Even with other people's kids, I do it, and I find that that's kind of a southern thing.
I agree.
Because I don't...
and that's definitely something I've picked up. I don't know that I used to do it, but everyone's got a pet name now, and I think that's something I've picked up from being down here for so long. The kids rarely even get called by their...
Oh, yeah, definitely. Names. Yeah. I do it, too.
And and it's funny, because they're sister and Bubba's, but... when I'm talking to your kids, I'm like, hey, sister, come here. Everyone that's a girl...
It's funny sister, that you say everyone, sister.
And Landon a couple times, I'm like, Bubba, come here. And he looks at me, but he comes over because he knows better.
See, I'll call your kids like, hey, babe, come here. Right. Or, hey, sweetie, what are you doing? Or, I do that. And I have to say one more of the really funny things that we grew up saying. My grandma always used to say, I'll tell you what it is and you tell me what you think it is. She'd always used to say, she looks like death eating a cracker. I don't know if you...
I don't know.
She would say that about someone who looked really bad, like really sick or really skinny.
All right.
She liked death eating a cracker. It was really comical if you think
That's
about
hilarious.
the vision in your head of what death eating a
now
cracker
now I'm saying it like the cake with the thing, and now he's trying to eat a cracker.
I always think of a skeleton sitting there eating a cracker, but I have a few more, but I'll let you. Do you have a few more?
Sayings wise, So I did a little research because I couldn't really come up with a lot of sayings. I know there are some. I've never used this, but I guess saying like the trunk of your car, calling it the boot.
My British friends, they call it the boot.
Yes, yeah. But apparently in Ohio they do as well. And see, when I read it, I'm like, that sounds very British. So it's funny that you said that. I've never said it, but then I've read it in a couple different spots that that's what people call it. We do tend to our accent, which you don't think when you are speaking and you hear yourself that you have one, but we do very much. Ohioans have an accent, and one thing that we do is we add R's to things that shouldn't. Like instead of let me be very clear when I say this. Instead of wash, we wash.
Oh.
And we iron instead of iron. So like, and I catch myself saying I got to go do the wash, and like so.
And it's funny you say that. I don't know, but you might agree with this. I can always tell someone who's not from the South when they call it a crayfish. It's a crawfish.
Crawfish, yeah.
But if you say crayfish, I know you're not from here.
I've kind of I've switched over to crawfish because I know that's the
acceptable. Is that what you call it?
Crayfish. They used to be crayfish, and you don't eat those things. That's crap. Yeah, you're eating bottom feeders from a river. Okay, bottom feeders from a creek is what you're eating.
That is so funny. That was actually on my list. You know when someone calls it a crayfish, they're not from here.
No. The other thing I have is, and this is something that Matt's grandma used to say all the time, but it's true. All Ohioans know what this means. Knee high by the 4th of July. Do you have any idea?
I'm going to say it's probably similar to we say knee high to a... Gosh, I forget. Knee high. It's referencing how tall someone is or how big?
It's actually referencing corn.
Oh, okay.
So, which in Ohio, there's a lot of corn.
Okay.
And a good crop, a good indicator of it is the fact that if by the 4th of July... It's knee high. It's
you're doing good.
Potentially you're doing really well with your crops. So,
right.
But all Ohioans know that and we use it. So
that's funny.
Yeah. And she used to, we'd be driving down the highway and she would just say it randomly, like, "Oh look, knee high by the 4th of July. Good for him." And it makes me smile every time I hear it.
That's funny.
And the other one I have is and Matt, I hadn't heard this in forever. And Matt this weekend, and like we've already talked about Austin, he had a lot of whiskey in him. But he said something to the effect of, he said, "If I had my druthers."
Okay.
Any idea?
Yeah, if I had my way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's an Ohio thing. I had not heard it in years. And I had not heard it from anybody under the age of
60.
Yes, which ultimately, like, I guess we are closer to 60 than we are to
10. Let's just be generous.
Right. Yes, yeah. So I guess we're getting up there. But when he said it, it kind of made me giggle because I had kind of partially had on my list, but it wasn't something I had heard. And he just randomly
That's
I can't remember. I think they were talking music, and he's like, "If I had my druthers, I would." I'm like, "What?" So yeah,
that's funny. Okay, my turn. We dress up for everything. I mean, even to go to the store or to the doctor, or to the dentist. Like growing up, I can remember you had to get dressed to go.
Right.
I don't mean like Sunday best, but you had to get dressed.
You need to look neat.
Like right now, I'm wearing a t-shirt and a pair of yoga pants. I would never dream, or my grandma would never dream of letting me go to the doctor like this.
Right.
But like I have a dentist appointment this afternoon, and you don't know how tempting it is just to go like this because it does not matter.
Right.
But we never did. Even just to go to the grocery store, I will change out of my house clothes into regular clothes to run to the store.
Right.
Just because that is so ingrained in me. Did you guys do that?
No.
No? Okay, that is a Southern thing.
Yeah.
And that being said,
well, let me say this. I mean, in the North, maybe it's because 8 months out of the year we are bundled up like there's no tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, so it doesn't matter what's on underneath our clothes. Cause
well, one of the other funny I'll just go ahead and tell you two of them. They're really funny. First sign of ice, we shut down.
Oh yeah.
Like we can't drive. We don't know how to drive anymore. We just automatically say, "Oh, I can't drive," so we stay inside.
Right. And the city's not prepared because like in North, there's gonna be ice. They put out salt trucks, and people always from the north would make fun of that. And I kind of cringe a little bit because I'm like, I don't think you understand. It just doesn't happen. Of course you don't know how to drive on it.
Right.
It doesn't happen. Of course they don't have salt trucks. Why would they?
And honestly, there are a lot of people out there that you don't want to be driving on
There's so
ice.
many people out there that I don't want to drive next to on a regular basis. Like,
so it is kind of scary, even though it is kind of funny how we all kind of shut down.
Yeah.
Houston is just as bad.
Right.
We shut down.
Yes.
Like, I know a couple times we had no school because the roads are... And we literally could walk to the school. That's how close we lived to the school.
When we first moved here, within the first month, they had this big ice storm that was going to come through, and it really ended up not being that much. But it was, because you're just not prepared for it. But it was so great for us because we were like, all right. Like, it was a great day off of work for my husband. Right. And they even, like, they shut the city down for 2 days.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was fine, but you just don't necessarily want to be out there with people when they don't.
No, when they don't know how to drive. No. Okay, one of my really funny things is we actually do think duct tape fixes almost anything.
It doesn't?
It does. Okay, good. That's a universal truth.
Yeah.
Because literally, if the kids pop a hole in something, I'm like, go get the duct tape. Duct tape fixes a multitude of sins.
Duct tape and WD-40?
WD-40, absolutely. Okay, I have 2 more and then I'm done. There is indeed a church on every corner. Like where I live in a town, or I grew up in a town so small, we have 1 red light. Yeah. I mean, my graduating class was the largest ever, and I think we had 90 people. But there's church on everywhere. I would venture to say there's probably 15 to 20 churches where I live.
You were on the very skirting the bottom of the Bible Belt where you're at, right?
The town I'm from is about 10 minutes from the Alabama border up in the Panhandle. So we lived, if anyone knows where Pensacola is, about 45 minutes north of Pensacola. Right. Very, very, very tiny town. And 10 points to the person who can guess that doesn't know me, the town that I'm from, just by geographic, what I just told you. But we also, my last thing is, we don't use street names. If you're giving someone directions, where if you're from the country, you're going to say, go to the end of the road by the school, turn left, and then turn by Jane's. Right. You don't say, go to 1st Street and then turn 3 blocks down on 2nd Street. You don't do that.
I will say Ohioans tend to give directions by minutes.
Okay.
So you drive for about 10 minutes and you're going to take a left, and then you're going to drive for 15 minutes. And everything is in reference to the big 3 C's, which is Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus. Okay. So, where do you live? I live about 2 hours north of Columbus. Like, you don't actually say where you live. It's where you are based to those, the 3 C's. So, yeah.
No, we use houses. Houses and landmarks. Yeah. Go turn by Miss Smith's
farm. Yeah.
That's exactly.
And it may not even be there anymore, but do you remember where it was? That's where you're going to want to take a left.
I noticed that when I went home this time, we were talking about, you live down the road where, Fred and Ted live. Right. Or whatever. And so... But yeah, so those are awesome. All of mine. Oh.
I have just a few more. We do go to the beach.
Oh, wait. You mean you drive down here to the beach?
No. Like, Ohioans be like, I think we should go to the beach.
Shoreline of lake or
something? Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So when we go to the beach, we're going to the lake.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So technically.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, and I love this one because it popped up and I hadn't thought about it in years, but it was something that we used to do as a fundraiser is cow pie bingo.
Cow pie bingo. Let me see if I can guess. No, I have no idea.
Okay. So what happens, and this is so country. I'm surprised you don't know. So what happens is you take a field and you divide it up into squares. And then you let a cow loose in the field. And everyone has put a bet down on a square. Okay. So I bet the 3rd one in, 2nd one down. Wherever the cow craps, that's the winner. Okay. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that is hilarious.
I remember in high school it was like a big fundraiser. So yeah. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh.
That is so funny. Yeah. No, I think where I'm from, what they do with cow patties is look for mushrooms underneath them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Shrooms. I have no idea. I don't think that they do anything other than that. And trust me, I come from the land of cows. I think you would know.
Right, yes.
Yeah, never heard of that. That's pretty creative. Yeah. That's really funny.
Well, we don't have much to do, especially in the winter, so we can get pretty
We creative. Didn't either in the country, so I'm amazed that they didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Well, That's really funny.
You know what's funnier is the fact that so much that was different, how many things that we both said it, and we were like, yes, okay, I get that. So maybe
we did.
We're not as much different. Right.
We're not as different. I do notice that when you listen to us, we definitely, there's that divide. Yeah. Because you definitely sound like you're from up north, and I think I definitely sound like I'm from the country.
You do. There's no question about it, yeah.
And this is huge because I don't like hearing my own voice. So doing the podcast was
you're
nice
very critical of that, but you sound very good.
Well, and it's funny because I think the same of you, but I think that, hey, let's just pat ourselves on the back.
I'm glad we did that one. That was really good.
That was really funny.
Oh, this whole topic came to mind because you had said something, and I was like, the whole devil's gonna.
Oh, the devil's beating his wife. Yes. It's when it rains and the sun's out. In fact, I did that on our trip.
And when you said that, I'm like, oh my God, you were so Southern. And then we both were like, yes, we have to talk about that. So, all right.
Good segment.
Yeah, I like that. That was really fun. So, next week on Life Under the Laundry Pile, we are going to be discussing road trips.
Road trip tips. And we are very seasoned in those.
Yeah. So we want to help you out there. We also do want to hear from you. So, please, please, please go on. I'm going to be posting something later on Facebook, and you can comment under that about what are some of your tips. I mean, when you get, I know we have a lot of friends that they drive. I mean, when you have a lot of kids, you have to. And what are some of your secrets to that?
And we will definitely share those. Absolutely. Right. Yes. So if you want to go on our page and just, post some of your tips.
And if you don't want to be seen, you can always, like when you're on the Facebook page, you can always message us there. And then you're not being publicly seen with your tips, no matter how bad they are. I have a friend that actually, her saving grace has always been, and she'll kill me, I'll never say who it is, she'll pee in a cup. Because she's not, she does a lot of traveling on her own, and she's got 3 children, and she's not going to drag them into a road stop every time she has to go. So,
and it gets down and dirty when you're traveling, especially like me. I travel alone with 4 kids, and recently on this trip we traveled alone with the dog with an 80-pound Doberman. And thankfully my sister-in-law was with us, because that kind of throws a wrench in the works. So yes, please tell us what your tips are. We would love to hear them.
And then we're rounding about halfway through the summer here. And before we get much further, we also wanted to talk about looking back on the past school year. And what are some of your top mom moments, good and bad, which we both have each.
And the more embarrassing, the better.
So that'll be next week on episode, what would that be? That'll be 4, right?
That'll be 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and just a reminder, on top of our podcast, we also each have our own blog. Heather does Our Life So Far, which is really awesome.
I need some love, you guys.
Please go love her.
I only have 50 Facebook.
Because she doesn't know how to pimp herself out.
I don't like to put myself out there, so it's really hard. And you can totally share it, even though it's, a lot of my friends, I think it's personal.
Right.
But it's not.
Right. I think once you start putting it out there, it's not personal anymore.
Right.
And we love knowing that people are reading it. So please, check her out. Yep. So I know a lot of my friends, and yours do too. I'm not saying this is a one-sided thing. Right. But my friends that listen, you will be a better person for having read her blog. So go over and check it out. And when you do that, please make sure that you acknowledge that you've done it, because it makes us a little bit more visible. That Facebook algorithm is really, it can hurt you if we don't have the acknowledgement that you have.
We kind of disappear off the feed if you don't like things. And I know that's horrible, but that's just the way that it is. Right. So, and don't forget, Copper obviously has hers. You guys, most of you know, it's Never Drink from Mommy's Cup. And she is a funny one.
So, yeah, make sure you're checking those out. And again, our Facebook page for Life in Our Laundry Pile as well. And the other thing about making sure that you like these pages, which I know it sounds like we're begging, and maybe we are a little bit, is the more you like us, the more we can do. The more opportunities that we have available to ourselves. And so it's just, those numbers are a little important to us. So it's really, we'll keep putting stuff out there for you to hear. We just need to
it's
know
the encouragement.
It is. And I'm not begging for friends here, but it does help us along if you do check those out. So, and make sure that you let us know that you are hearing us and reading our stuff. So, do you have anything else today?
I don't think so.
Yeah, all right.
I don't. Thanks for letting me try the booby Buckeyes.
Thanks for bringing me the booby Buckeyes. Now I'll never I'll feel so wrong. There's 2 dozen more. I'm like, just can we have one? I'll be like, no. Yep. So I'm glad you enjoyed the booby Buckeyes. I enjoyed my peanuts, and even thank you for letting me try your
pork rinds. Well, more for me since she didn't like them.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
We're good.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's totally okay.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.